Again. Hi. Welcome everybody. Welcome pub family. Welcome to the pub family. Pinkies up bunch, the Pinkies up bunch. All right. So if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, share, join, become a member, follow, do anything you got to. Keep me in your prayers and thoughts. But let's keep going. I did a video earlier about the Florida situation. So now, I mean, it's actually a national thing. It's not just in Florida. But now we are going to go and follow up on the Carmelo Anthony situation that happened here in Texas at the track meet, at a high school track meet. So, let's see. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. So we are going to go and get into it. Just a little backstory. Um, a lot has been happening. There's been a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of a lot of I guess lies, accusations, allegations, things like that. So, with respect to both to both families, just keep everybody in your prayers and in your prayers at night. Um, it is a tough situation. We don't know what if you weren't close with the families, we don't know what the families were like. Um, so quick judgment really needs to stop. Everybody has their time in court, no matter what the situation or no matter how much the evidence is stacked up on them, and no matter if they've already given any kind of confession or anything. So therefore, let's get into it. I have a couple of videos I wanted to kind of go over. We're just going to watch and try to get a little bit of information. Everybody, a lot of it is all the same, but everybody has like one or two different things. So that's why I like just giving you guys everything that way. What is that live right now? Okay. So that way y'all can make y'all's own inform y'all's own decisions and opinions and things like that. So I am gonna go ahead and share my screen and we're just gonna jump into some of these videos and then we'll go ahead and we'll we'll kind of have a conversation as we go. So let's go ahead and share your screen so I can we can watch this video together. And we'll start off with the news. This one was just recently, actually, this was yesterday. Again, since then, Carmelo did have a $1 million bond. Judge reduced that bond to, I believe it was 250,000. The Anthony family was still not unable to pay that million, so I'm assuming that's why the judge. I mean, she could have done it for other reasons, but however, he is charged with murder and is able to get out on bond. I didn't know that that was possible, that you could be charged with murder and be out bonded out, but apparently it is. So, he got bonded out. He was released, I believe, yesterday. So let's get into it.
All around, but it's also, well, this is such a tragic case and it is sad all around, but it's also had its share of surprises. And what happened this morning is no different. We were all waiting to hear the Anthony family talk for the first time on the record. It was supposed to start at 11. 10 minutes turned into 20, then 30. The reason? Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, had walked in.
Who was not invited, he knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family. But he did it.
Karmelo Anthony is charged with murder in his son's death at a track meet in Frisco on April 2nd. Jeff Metcalf said nothing. He just stood and waited. The group hosting this told him to leave or they'd call Dallas police. The group's founder, Dominique Alexander, made this statement.
Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
Jeff Metcalf was escorted out by DPD before the family arrived to speak. Ultimately, it was not a court order that made him leave, but because the owner of the building said he was trespassing. Metcalf shook hands with officers and then left. This press conference was about hearing from Karmelo's mom, Kayla Hayes, and we finally did.
We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you.
The family says they've endured threats, lies, and racial harassment over the last 2 weeks.
Our family has been under attack.
Mostly over a fundraising page they say they haven't been able to access until Wednesday. They're fighting claims they're profiting off of this or living lavishly from the funds raised.
We have endured death threats. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family.
We've asked for comment from Jeff Metcalf. He told us not to quote him. We're also told this will be the last time we hear from the Anthony family before a possible trial. But that will not stop all the talk from the outside and any more surprises that have come with this case. In Dallas, I'm Jobin Pueniker.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Hayes. I am the mother of Karmelo Anthony. 3 years ago, my family moved to North Texas searching for a better life. Like so many other families, we wanted to give our children the future we did not have. My husband worked hard every single day to provide for us, to make sure we're the best we're in the best financial position possible. As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure our children are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way. In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen. happened to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her.
So 13-year-old, that means she's in middle school. Oh, in middle school. Can you imagine your middle schooler being threatened? Wanna sit down, Papa? You can sit down. It's not charged. Mommy's not charging it. Nope, you gotta wait till Daddy gets home. Sorry. No, Mommy's not gonna charge it. Excuse me? You told me yes? Mommy charged it in a little bit, but Mommy's not gonna charge it right now. Mommy's got a headache from that thing all day long. Hey, let's see. Since you gave me kisses, can I get a hug? Since you gave me kisses and a hug. Oh, more kisses. Oh, okay. Okay, let's go. It's dead. Told you. Mickey's dead. Go put it on the charger. Silly boy. So, anyways, I forgot what I was like. I was going with that. Okay, so this is kind of where I wanted to get to because I know Nancy Grace did a video yesterday as well. So this came out yesterday, and she did a video as well, and she claims the same thing that this family was going to use the donation money to buy a house. Um, I get it. I mean, it could be true. I don't know. I haven't watched that Nancy Grace. I haven't watched because as I was starting this live, that one popped up on my phone. So I saved it and we'll probably watch it together. But these other ones I did watch, so I could kind of, I already know ahead of time of what I need to commentate on, so we can just scroll through. But as far as Nancy Grace, I didn't see it, but I saw like the first maybe like 30 seconds of it for like how it shows a preview, and she states that this family, son is walking loose and they're getting ready to buy a new house with this money. So again, um, it may or may not be true. We don't know. I don't have any paperwork. I don't have any kind of like, property paperwork, taxes or anything like that. I don't have any um they have never said that they were going to use that money for that. So, I mean, this is one of the first appearances that this family has made since the situation occurred, and from what they say, actually, when we finish the video, they're going to say that probably not going to do another one until the trial starts, or closer to the trial starts, or during the trial, or anything like that. So it sounds to me like this family is really gonna keep their lips closed as much as possible. I know they probably just wanted to come out real quick and state this because Next Generation is, a company, Next Generation Action Network is based out of Dallas, and it is an advocacy group. So, they're gonna be kinda like, Um, they're not their lawyers or anything, but they're probably gonna be giving them resources and guiding them on how to go through this trial without one, hindering it, and two, staying safe and staying alive. So let's continue.
And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated. Against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a two-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution, we believe in the laws of this state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in the legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you. To those who have supported my family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process. Thank you.
Okay. So that was the mom speaking out of Carmelo Anthony. Um, okay. So the next one I had, let me see, where is this? Is this that one that we just watched? I think it is. Sorry. Let's, let's see. So, okay. So after all that, Karmelo Anthony has been released on bond. Here's what comes next. We are going to start with this one. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't share it. I'm sorry, guys. Again. It's Good Friday. Why is any bill collector calling me? Not answering. Still not answering. I don't care if it's a holiday. It's Good Friday. Why are you bothering me on Good Friday? Okay, so let's see. Actually, no, it's just okay. So let's go.
Well, for the first time in nearly 2 weeks, Karmelo Anthony waking up back at home this
Hmm. I don't know why it does that.
morning. Here's a look at the moment when the North Texas teen accused of murder walked out of jail. The 17-year-old is now under strict house arrest as he awaits the next steps in his case.
Chris Sadeghi is with us here at the desk this morning. And Chris, I know that you were in the courtroom yesterday when the judge lowered his bond. This is a case getting a lot of national attention. Just walk us through what happened yesterday.
Well, because of that attention, safety and security is at the forefront. The judge actually started the hearing by saying that she's presided over a lot of murder trials involving a lot of defendants of every race, and that she has never seen the security precautions needed to this point in this case. We not only walked through the first metal detector at the front of the courthouse, but also another at the entrance of the individual courtroom. The families of both Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf were in the courtroom. I noticed the deputies made sure they were careful. They would let one family enter before the other, and then also the same thing leaving, because they obviously want to avoid any possible conflict that might happen.
Okay, now how long did the hearing last? Let's talk about what were some of the important moments, discussions that were had.
Yeah, going in, we weren't sure if this would be a very quick hearing, if she'd make her decision right away or not, but it took about an hour and a half. Karmelo Anthony was in the yellow inmate's jumpsuit and remained mostly stoic at the defense table, did not show any obvious signs of emotion, and his father was the only one to testify. He spoke about his son's background. His testimony was an effort to prove to the judge that his son would not be a flight risk or pose a danger if he were released on bond. Before making her decision to lower the bond from $1 million to $250,000, the judge made clear bond is not a form of punishment. It does not speak to guilt or innocence. Its purpose is just to ensure the defendant makes his court dates.
So let's talk about next steps. We waited quite a while for this one, but again, the attention on this one. What's coming next?
Well, Karmelo Anthony is home now, and he will have to remain under house arrest. He will be wearing an ankle monitor. He cannot leave his house without the court's permission. In the meantime, now a grand jury will hear the case and decide whether or not to indict him. If they do, the case does move forward. Grand jury proceedings, all of them, are always done in private, so we don't know when that evidence will be presented or when we might get their decision.
All right, thank you, Chris. This is going to be very detailed. A lot more information on our website, too.
Absolutely.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price? Roan now
Well, for the first time.
Okay, so yeah, That again, for them to say that bond is only so that way you can make your court dates. If that's the case, then he should have been bonded out because he is being charged with murder. I don't understand. I still don't get this bond thing. I don't. I don't get bond. I never got bond. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't get it. Okay, so let's go. All right. So here we are. This is going to be with the lawyers and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and start this. Actually, let's go back a little bit because this one is about 10 minutes long. But he does give up some information. Um, so go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. There's not much I can say, but the judge. All right.
Can you come this way?
Sure.
Okay, that's fine right there.
All right. There's not much I can say. The judge has made the call, and so what's important is what's next. Frisco PD will be finishing up their investigation. They will submit the case to my office. We will review it and ultimately present it to a grand jury. And so that's what's next. That's really much. Pretty much all I can say right now. We do our speaking in, as far as the facts go in the courtroom. Many of you were in there, so you understand what was said. But this is a terrible tragedy for our entire, not just Frisco, but Collin County community. One family has suffered a permanent loss. It's the most unnatural thing for a parent to lose their child. It's permanent. It's profound. It's certainly premature. And it's the hardest thing that I think a human being can go through is to lose their child. The Anthony family has had a different kind of loss, but a loss nonetheless. But the judge has made her call, and we look forward to continuing the process and looking forward to reviewing all the facts of the case that Frisco PD is coming up with and present it to a grand jury. What we're concerned about as prosecutors is justice, truth, and accountability. And so we will go where the facts lead us. Thank you so much.
Could you speak about the security and the vitriol and just the safety even for the judge and your officer?
Well, this has definitely rocked our entire community. And so it has struck a nerve in the community, and it's hard for everybody to be level-headed at a time like this. So that's where we come in. It's our job to be level-headed, to be fact-based, and to follow the truth wherever it leads. Thank you so much.
And what is your name? Thank you.
Yeah, that's the attorney.
We can't do this in here.
Give us 5 more seconds. I'm sorry. 5 more seconds? Okay. Good? Everybody good? Every Texan has the right to defend themselves when they reasonably fear for their life. Self-defense is a protection that applies to each and every one of us. There are two sides to every story.
Let me jump on real quick. Let me jump on this real quick. Yes. Self-defense is there for people who feel threatened. Friend of what? He didn't have a weapon. Baby, hold on. Get you off the screen real. Okay, guys, I am back. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so self-defense, yes, it is there for when you are feeling threatened. That's if like somebody has a weapon, somebody is coming after you with a weapon, is pulls a gun at you, pulls a knife. Um, just because somebody says they're gonna beat you up, they didn't say that they were gonna kill you. They, I mean, I don't. Okay, self-defense, self-defense. But then again, you were at a high school track meet. Again, I am gonna put this on. I am really gonna really emphasize the fact that if you're at a school track meet, you're still considered part of school property, on school property. If you're going to a field trip, you ride on a school bus, that's school property. You're on the school bus, it's school property. Whenever you're at any kind of, leave it, Coco. If you are going anywhere that has to do with the school, you are still considered on school campus. So therefore you shouldn't have a weapon. That knife should have never been there. That means that he had that knife at school the whole time because he had it in his bag. I'm sure he didn't say, "Hey, ma, come drop me off this bag right now because I need it for track." No, usually athletic people they take their bag. They go early in the morning. They have all their equipment. They're there all day. They practice there. And they do everything until the track meet, and then they go to the track meet, whatever. But you don't. You shouldn't. It is school policy, district policies. As far as I know, here in San Antonio, and I'm assuming it's all across Texas, that there should be no weapons on school campus, on school grounds. So, therefore, to say that this is self-defense is beyond the point because what is he's defending himself against? From an ass whooping? I'm just saying. He was so scared of getting his ass beat, he'd rather go and pull out a knife and make sure that that didn't happen. His life wasn't a threat. His ego was a threat. His pride was at threat. Not him, not his life. He wasn't in any danger. There were adults around, other kids around, other schools around. There were so many other ways that he could have handled that. And then to say, this is why I kind of think that they're going to pull this, oh, well, he feared they were ganging up on him kind of thing, two against one kind of thing. But regardless, none of those other kids had weapons. Weapon is used to kill, not to hurt, not to traumatize, not to scare, not to do whatever, but to do actual physical harm to somebody, knuckle up next time, beep. Knuckle up. Because you were too scared to knuckle up. You want to claim self-defense for pulling out a knife at a high school track meet. Just saying. That self-defense, I'm so upset with it. I'm so upset because that is like no, but I can probably be 80% positive that no other athlete there had any kind of weapon like that on them. Maybe pepper spray, but then that's still considered non-lethal. That was a lethal weapon. He wasn't carrying around pepper spray. He wasn't carrying around a what do you call it? Those little pepper ball guns. This was a lethal weapon. This was a real knife, real, which means the victim is no longer alive. They are now deceased. This is a real thing. And you want to cry self-defense because you're about to get your butt beat? I'm just saying. Oh my goodness, that's so beautiful, baby. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway, let's keep going because this self-defense thing is irritating me. And then when we get to the other thing, I want you to know this is what, because the things that I know, you I don't know if you guys know, so this is why I'm a little bit more upset because I already know some extra stuff that just makes it even like, okay, now you're saying Metcalf boys, you're claiming self-defense. You put a FundMe account on there so people could donate to you for your legal funds. I mean, so far they're doing okay. They got you bond for a murder charge. I want to look that up. Because these things kill me. I wish I had answers when I come on here, but stuff happens so fast that I just want to get on here and give you guys the information. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, didn't mean to laugh. In Texas, of course, we are in Texas. Bail is generally not permitted for capital murder charges. For other murder charges, including first degrees and second degree murder, bail is usually granted, but it can be high, potentially reaching millions. Judges also have discretion to deny bail in certain circumstances, even for non capital murder charges. Okay, I think murder is murder. Oh, okay. Good job. Capital murder is a legal term referring to murder that is punishable by death penalty or life in prison without parole. It's essentially a first degree murder with specific aggravated circumstances. These aggravating circumstances can include things killing multiple people, killing for financial gain, killing law enforcement, or killing witnesses to prevent testimony. Oh, that sounds kind of like the DIDDUI case. Um, so what's the difference between capital murder, first degree, and second degree? Okay. Anyway, to me, murder is murder. I guess there's different types of murder. I don't know whether you mean it to or not. The fact is that you took somebody's life. But okay, so I'm just gonna take that. We're gonna go back to this. Let's continue this.
And Karmelo is a 17-year-old kid and an excellent student. He is the captain of his track team. He's the captain. Defend themselves when they reasonably fear for their life. Self-defense is a protection that applies to each and every one of us. There are two sides to every story, and Karmelo is a 17-year-old kid and an excellent student. He is the captain of his track team. He is the captain of his football team. And prior to this, what was on his mind was what college he was going to go to. This is a tragedy all the way around for both families. Rushing to judgment, trial by public perception and trial by media is not how we ensure justice is done. We are confident that after a full investigation, that the truth will come out. Thank you.
Mike, you took umbrage with the state's assessment that this was simple and brutal. Why so?
Well, the fact of the matter is, like I said, there's two sides to every story, and we've only heard one side. In any criminal case, the police investigate, and the defense is always far behind that. And so it is a one-sided investigation to this point, and even that investigation is still ongoing. So to say that it happened this way or that way is just not accurate at this point. All of the facts
Why is it my Can you hear me now? Let me see. Was I talking to myself this whole time? Okay. So yeah, I was on mute. Sorry guys. So again, like he said, there was two facts to every story. But the fact is that Carmelo Anthony is brought a weapon to school, took it to a school event, and then allegedly used it and murdered another student from another school at the event. I believe that I don't know what he was doing under their tent, but whatever that was the main source of the problem, the main root of the problem. So if he was such a good child, like as everybody was saying, he would have been under the right tent and wouldn't have been told to move. And if he was such an A student, a remarkable student, athlete, this, and this, he was the God's gifted child on top of the thing, then why didn't he just move? Why didn't he just move? Why did he initially threaten him? Touch me and see what happens. Now, Austin could have said, hey, yo, you don't move. I'm gonna have to force you to move, dude. You know, that's what I mean. That's I could see that happening. Like, yo, bro, yo, homie, la 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 la, woo 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 woo. So it's just like Austin was probably telling him to knuckle up. The other one was just like, nah, homie, I don't fight, but I'll pull out my knife on you. I'll pull out my knife. Watch what happens. But I'm pretty sure he didn't say knife, but he had his back. So I mean, he was just suggesting that he had something in there. Now, it was only a knife. It wasn't a gun. It wasn't anything else. But still, it was a lethal weapon. He didn't have a non-lethal weapon. It wasn't pepper spray. It wasn't a pepper gun. It wasn't a plastic knife. It wasn't a toy knife. It wasn't a butter knife. It was a lethal weapon that he brought on school property. And the only reason why you bring that type of stuff to school property or you even carried it on you is because you're going to use it at some point or another. You don't know when, you don't know how, but you will use it. And then if you don't know, the first words that come out of your mouth or first question to the police is, "This could be considered self-defense?" Then that means your life wasn't really at danger because you will know for sure if it's self-defense, if your life was so much in danger that you wanna claim self-defense. Good job, baby. Go show brother. Go show Skylar. You will. You will. You would I mean, come on. Self-defense? And then you gotta ask if it's self-defense? Homie, that ain't self-defense then. Okay. So, is kinda like what I'm saying. So so again, if you gotta ask if it's self-defense, it's not self-defense. You you brought a lethal weapon on school property. You took it to a track event. That all right there shows intent. You were intending to do something with that weapon. Eventually, like it's like you wanted to start something so you can have a reason to use it or something. I don't know. There's something fishy about this and this whole family and why they're raising money and why they're doing this and they're doing that. I mean, this is crazy. But let's go because remember, he got out on bond. Remember, judge lowered the bond. He's out on bond. He's on house arrest. He gets to enjoy the fresh air. And poor Austin gets to enjoy the smell of dirt and flowers. The smell of dirt. I'm pretty sure he's with his heavenly father now, but anywho, let's keep continue. Let's
Why our system of justice requires that we keep our minds open and we let the facts come out as they are after a full investigation.
Is your client going to be able to make bond and get out today?
I anticipate that he will be able to make bond. I can't speak to how quickly that will go. Funds, in the funds that have been raised are not quick to come out. And then, there's obviously a process to the release process once bond is posted.
The big question that a lot of people have is why was this young man armed on school property?
That's an understandable question, but it's not something that, frankly, we're prepared to even go into. This is.
hold the phone. Hold the phone. Because that lady asked the question. I didn't hear that earlier. Because as you can tell, my kids are continuing. It's Good Friday, guys. So you got to remember, my kids are home right now. But she just asked the same question. Why was this child armed on school property? Yet he's not willing to go into that. Why? Why are you not willing to discuss why this person had a weapon on school property? When he already had another thing with the school. And we'll get into that as well. This is why I'm so highly upset because these school districts allow these students to continue to come back and harm other students. Just like at the girls' school, at the whatever. So we really need to push. Why did this student have a weapon? He's not willing to get into it. Why aren't you willing to get into it? That is a major part of the thing because if he didn't initially have it on school property like he wasn't supposed to, none of this would have happened. Regardless if he was under the wrong tent. I could be 99.9% if there was a fight that broke out because he didn't have a knife. Let's just say the altercation happened, whatever. Austin said, throw up your dukes. Anthony said, throw up your dukes. And boom, 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 boom. They start boxing. I'm sure teachers, security, there's still school police security that go to these functions and events. They're not just, whatever. They're not just open. There's still security there. So you have teachers, you got students, you got staff, you got school police there, not including maybe even, no, because that's still part of the school, but you would have just gotten your butt beat. Somebody would have gotten their butt beat. Somebody would have had to lose eventually, but both of them would have lived for another day. I could be 99.9% if they would have just had a fight with no weapons, they would both be here today, and one of them's ego would have just been bruised. Now, with Karmelo Anthony, if his ego was bruised, there would be no guarantee that he wouldn't go back and on a revenge and do something because, again, like I said, there was another altercation or accusation or whatever going on with the school. So I really wish I knew, but he has a history. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things. But if you did one thing, you have a history. So don't say he didn't have a history. He has a history. And then he had a weapon on school property. But you don't want to talk about that. Let's not get into that and why he even brought it up. Why did he even have it on school property? Let's rewind that. Let's hear that again. I want to hear that again. I'm gonna try to turn this up as loud as I can, and let's get this going.
Then, there's obviously a process to the release process once bond is posted.
The big question that a lot of people have is why was this young man armed on school property?
That's an understandable question, but it's not something that, frankly, we're prepared to even go into.
He's not prepared to go into. Why? Because he knows that's the clear foundation to this case. He violated so many rules when it came to the school district rules, and it led to another teen's death. But he is not willing to get into that. All right, guys. This is very interesting.
This is something that I know the.
There we go. Another one. You hear that stutter? You gotta go back. You gotta go back and listen to that. Just like the Metcalf boys. I don't want to get into that right now. That is a good question, but So, but yet this teen is still loose on bond. Okay. House arrest, whatever. You're in your home and comfort. You're eating food like a king right now compared to all the other people who allegedly and were convicted of murder. Obviously, you haven't been convicted yet, but you're allegedly charged. I mean, you are charged for alleged murder. And I'm sure everybody who's in that jail waiting to be tried right now is probably having a hissy fit field day in that facility, knowing that this kid was able to be, one, unsure about self-defense, two, have a weapon on school property, and then three, get released on bond. We'll have the bond reduced and then released. I mean, but you have a 20-year-old who did a non-violent crime here in San Antonio in TCD, was it TDCJ or whatever the stupid prison name is? Like, are you kidding me? And he can't even get out on bond. He can't even get released or he can't get parole. But you give somebody who murdered another student at a track meet bond. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, I'm getting too into this. Let's go back to the video.
Police and the prosecution want to get it right and want to have a full and fair investigation, and so do we. So it would be irresponsible for me or them at this point to start saying, this is what happened, this is...
Ben, see, this dude is pissing me off. I'm sorry, guys, but this dude is seriously pissing me the frick off.
It would be irresponsible for me or them at this point to start saying, this is what happened, this is why anything. So I understand that's a big question. It's going to be a big question, and it's something that we will find out, and we ask that the public, as hard as it is, withhold judgment and let both of these families have justice, that let both of these young
Okay. 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 So let's continue with this. I forgot where we're at.
I understand that's a big question. It's going to be a big point to start saying this is what happened, this is why anything. So I understand that's a big question. It's going to be a big question, and it's something that we will find out, and we ask that the public, as hard as it is, withhold judgment and let both of these families have justice, that let both of these young men, the Metcalf family and the memory of who, that let both of these young men, the Metcalf family and the memory of who they've lost, but also Karmelo, have a fair and full justice process.
Ultimately, you're feeling on the reduction of this bond, you feel it's fair?
Yeah, I feel it's fair. Bond, as the judge said, is not supposed to be an instrument of oppression. It's not supposed to keep people in jail. It's not supposed to punish. It's supposed to ensure that a person shows up to court, complies with all conditions, and it's supposed to keep the community safe. So this is
How is letting an alleged murderer out on bond keeping the community safe? I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I'm just baffled by the whole situation. And again, I don't have the court documents. I don't have the police reports. This has been a very, um, kind of not discreet, but not a lot of this is getting a lot of attention, but there's still not a lot of information out there. They haven't released a lot of the things, like there's no coroner's report, there's no nothing, there's no I mean, there probably is, but it's not like it's made public or it hasn't come out or the news hasn't been talking about it. It's just like bam, they talked about the meet and the incident, and then now it's like he's getting on bond. Like what? Like it's crazy. Like I don't even know, but the information that's put out there is clear cut. He took a weapon on school campus. Regardless of what altercation it was, he pulled the weapon out and he used it. He planned, he intended, and he did it. Like they said, the intent and the planning, it's not something that's long dragged out or something that has to be planned to the T or whatever. It's in that instant from the moment he said that, hey, you do something, I got something in this bag waiting for you. That's where the intent was. That's intent. You were intending to harm this person. This is irritating me, and I wish I was there. Like, this is so aggravating, yet frustrating, and yet, oh, like I wish I was there to ask that question because I would have been like, no, sir, that's not the answer I want. I want a direct answer. Either you're gonna do something about it or you're not gonna do something about it. Now, like you said, you're not gonna tolerate the thing, then so be it. But the fact of the matter is he still took the weapon on school, and initially that was the first violation of that incident. You violated school policy continuously because you brought it to school, you took it to the track meet, you went from one campus to another. I mean, you traveled with it. All that is considered almost intent. Motive, intent, care, whatever, I don't know, but, like, you planned it. Like, you didn't plan it, but you planned it. Let's see, I think that's what is I think that's the right word. I think it's intent. Intent. Hold on. Mean In Texas law, intent refers to the mental state of the actor, meaning the purpose of desire to engage in a particular conduct or cause a specific result. It doesn't give, yeah, he intended. There was intent there. Ooh, I want to see these lawyers go ready. See, now these lawyers are going to duke it out because you just publicly announced that you weren't going to handle the knife on it. Like, you're really trying to get a murderer off. Okay. And I know that's your job, but whatever. Like, let's keep going. Oh my. Let me see. I think I'm done with this one. Yeah. Close this one out. Okay, let's go back to the.
This is a large and substantial bond, and the judge has, I think, rightly imposed reasonable conditions that will ensure both Karmelo and the Anthony family's safety, but also the safety of the community.
What was Karmelo's reaction today? He didn't seem very talkative toward you, and how has jail, I guess, been so far for this teenager? And is he on suicide watch or anything like that?
I honestly can't speak to Karmelo's reaction because I was so focused on the hearing and what was going on and what the judge was saying. I think we have to all remember Karmelo is a 17-year-old kid who's never been in any sort of trouble before. If you can just put yourself...
Wrong. He has been in trouble before, but it was handled discreetly. But let's get into it. Let's keep going. We'll get into that later. But remember, the lawyer said he had no other priors. No nothing. He's
in his shoes. This is a scary, bewildering process, and I can't even imagine what was going through his head, just as I'm sure I can't imagine what was going through the heads of the Metcalf family. So, this is something that is new to all of them and incredibly trying.
So for people who want to know, why were you selected? I mean, what is your experience? I mean, you had to be really good.
I can't speak as to why I was selected. In any case, it's important to have an attorney that you connect with, that you feel has the right amount of experience and the right investment in the case. And I'm not speaking to anybody else. I just know that that's important in any case.
Just how unsafe does this family feel? You mentioned it multiple times.
I mean, look, I'm not going to speak for them at this point, but I think you can imagine the press coverage on this case has been immense, and the online and public reaction has been immense. And unfortunately, as is common in our culture, especially lately, the vitriol and the public reaction one way or the other has been intense. And threats and talk of race war and all kinds of insanity isn't good for, obviously, the Anthony family. It's not good for the Metcalf family. It's not good for the peace and safety of our community. So, I would ask, and I know both sides would ask, that the temperature on this be allowed to come down. That the media, you guys have a job to do, and I understand that everyone does. But at the same time, we just ask everyone in the public and everywhere to let this process play out fairly and fully for both sides. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Wrap that mic from you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So yeah, that was the lawyer, and it's getting pretty heated. Like you said, he doesn't want to discuss a lot of things because he knows that that's key to the case. These lawyers, I know Austin's Metcalf's family and their lawyers are really, really going to push the fact that one, he is not as previous altercation. He had a previous incident at school where it was handled discreetly. Now, why it was handled discreetly, I don't know. But usually when schools handle things discreetly, it's because they don't want it to get out to the media. It's so big that they don't want it in the public. So, or family family either paid members off in the board or whatever. Like I said, I don't have details on that incident, but he's had priors. He's had he I shouldn't say purposely, but he willingly brought, knife on a school campus, and he willingly took it to the track meet, and he willingly threatened somebody with it, and he willingly used it. Regardless of, he didn't fear for his life, because if he feared for his life, he would have let the officers know, I fear for my life. Not the fact that, could it be because he told me he was going to do something to me, so can I use that as a self-defense? Like, no. He didn't have no weapon on him, like, feeling like that, like, and then if you thought something was really gonna happen at that time, you move from the situation, there's plenty of you're at a track. Again, let's continue with these stories. I'm not sure. I know, like, a lot of these are the same, so we're just gonna kinda go into it, see if I can get these done, as quick as possible, 'cause I do gotta start cooking for the kids.
Of the Collin County Jail this afternoon after posting bond. Thanks for joining us here at 5 on a Monday. I'm Nicole Baker.
And I'm Doug Dunbar. So let's dive into it. Karmelo Anthony had been in jail since the 2nd of April, accused still today of killing another teenager. That's Austin Metcalf. And that accused killing happened at a track meet at a high school. Today, a judge reduced Anthony's bond from $1 million all the way down to $250,000. J.D. Miles was there for it. He's live for us right now outside the Collin County Jail. Anthony just left. We saw the video. What else do we need to know?
That's right, Doug and Nicole. Just 6 hours or about that much time after a judge lowered his bond, Karmelo Anthony was released. The judge who made the decision warned the accused murderer that if he violates any terms of his probation or tries to leave his home, he will be brought back right here to the Collin County Jail.
Karmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim?
Karmelo Anthony emerged from the Collin County Jail 13 days after his arrest for the murder of Austin Metcalf. The high school student had nothing to say as he headed to his parents' home, where he will be confined to an ankle monitor. It's the result of a hearing this morning over whether to lower his bond. The families of both Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf arrived at the Collin County Courthouse this morning with extra security in and around the courtroom. A new defense attorney representing the Frisco teen accused of murder had his client's father testify about his son's character, telling the judge he was a captain of his football and track teams and that he held 2 jobs while in school. He's an A student, said Andrew Anthony. Does he have plans to go to college? Yes, sir.
And prior to this, what was on his mind was what college he was going to go to. This is a tragedy all the way around for both families.
Anthony, who told Frisco police he stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a track meet in self-defense after an altercation, sat in a jail jumpsuit and shackles, while prosecutors challenged how the father could not afford the 10% needed for $1 million bond, with an online donation fund that's up to $400,000 and growing. With access to over $400,000, why haven't you bonded him out yet? Asked the prosecutor. We don't have access to that money, replied the father.
It's hard for everybody to be level-headed at a time like this.
Again, they raised the $400,000. $1 million bond means you got to at least pay 10%. What is 10% of 1 million, guys? Come on. Anyone? More than what they raised, right? I mean, less than what they raised, right? So then now they raised 400,000. The judge lowered it to 250,000, which means all they got to pay is 25,000. Leaves them with quite a bit of money left over. Of course, that's not including the legal fees and everything. That's just the bond. But I would say legal fees another 50,000, maybe even 100,000. You already raised 400,000. 100,000 goes to the lawyers. 25 of that is going to the thing that leaves you over 375,000. I mean 275,000. And it's growing, so it could be more now. It could be up to 300,000. Which means, yeah, you can buy that pretty little house. But I'm not going to get into that because like I said, I mean that's just another conspiracy, but I'm just saying like it's possible. It's not impossible. It's possible, but now whether it happens or not, I don't know. I'm not part of their family and I'm not doing any papers and I'm not doing any dirty dealings, so I wouldn't really know, right? So let's continue.
So that's where we come in. It's our job to be level-headed, to be fact-based, and to follow the truth wherever it leads.
And prosecutors revealed today that Karmelo Anthony was involved in an assault-type altercation at his school on February.
To be fact-based and to follow the truth wherever it leads.
And prosecutors revealed today that Karmelo Anthony was involved in an assault-type altercation at his school on February. February 4th that was handled internally by the school district. Other than that, he has an unblemished record, which is probably one of the reasons why the judge agreed to lower his bond. Live in McKinney, J.D. Miles, CBS News Tech.
He had another altercation at school in February of an assault-like altercation, and was handled discreetly. An assault altercation that was handled discreetly. So was it just a fight, or was it what? What's considered an assault altercation? See, I mean, they like to use these words, and I'm like, to me, I mean, yes, certain words can mean similar things, but still have different meanings. So it's kind of like how you use the wording can make it a different meaning. So it's crazy. An assault, like. In Texas, an assault-like altercation generally refers to a situation where there's dispute or confrontation that could lead to a charge of assault. So that means whoever did it, whatever the incident, whoever the other party was in this assault altercation with Carmelo, I'm sure either got paid off or maybe the school told him to be quiet, because you got to understand, here in Texas, sports is a really big thing. Football, track, especially if he was a captain of the football team, captain of the track team. He's an athlete. These schools are not willing to give up their athletes so easily, especially stars. Especially stars. So for them to handle an assault-like altercation, which in this case it means that it could have led to a charge of assault. This could involve physical contact that's offensive or provocative, even without causing injury, or threatening another with imminent bodily harm. Touch me and see what happens. Touch me and see what happens. Threatening another with imminent bodily harm. Assault charges in Texas can range from misdemeanors to felonies, depending on the severity of the situation, including the presence of injuries and weapons. So tell me, you as a judge already know, like, prosecutors brought this information to you, saying this kid is not as squeaky clean as you think. He has a history, but the school, apparently, he's such a good athlete. The school apparently wanted to handle it discreetly, write it off the books, cover it up, erase it, mark it off, exit out, white it out, just make it disappear so that way this kid can continue to participate, which ultimately led to another kid's death because you allowed these kids to continue. You just allowed this, you just showed this child that, hey, yeah, you can go and cause a little bit of trouble. But you could get away with it because you're an athlete. So, okay, now this kid has murdered another, or allegedly murdered another kid, and where's the school's opinion on this? It happened on school ground. The first incident happened on school ground. This kid continuously brings weapons to school property. Isn't that a district right? I mean, I want to go look up their handbook with when kids are assault like it was handled, but how, I don't know. Like, what are the reprimands? Like, how come he didn't get pulled from the track team? How come he didn't get suspended for 2 weeks from the track team? Why didn't he do this? I mean, they may have, but if it was handled discreetly, that means he didn't have any punishment. He didn't have um, no punishment, basically. He wasn't held accountable for his actions. And these people are talking about how he's a golden boy. No. 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 He has mental issues. This child has mental issues. He's not crazy, so he shouldn't get off on a craziness, thing. He's not. He just has mental issue. He's very impulsive. He's very he thinks there's no repercussion to what he does. Oh, well, I said whatever I could say whatever I want to say because you know what? They're gonna let me do it. They're gonna handle it discreetly. Nobody's gonna know about it. I could do whatever I want. I'm the star here. I'm a star. That's his mentality. Did you see the face when he was walking? Like he really him and doing all this. Like he wanted to say something, but you see how they were holding his hand as they were walking him from the courtroom. I mean, out of the courthouse into the car. They made sure nobody got close and they made sure he didn't talk. They made sure they grabbed his hand and pulled him as fast as they could to that car. But he didn't like it. You saw the faces. He didn't like what do you have to say to that victim's family? You saw him like he wanted to say something and then walking down with the mean mugging and stuff. I think that's his natural him right there. Not the little happy face boy that they want to put the pictures up and stuff like that. We all got those kind of pictures for a rainy day. Just saying. All right, so let's get on to the other one. Like I said, he was the one that was able to discover. Well, actually, he wasn't the one that discovered. Prosecutors discovered it. Oh yeah, I really wanted to get. Is it this one? What was on this one? I'm sorry, guys. I need to. Yes, I did.
And what we're seeing now is a reduction in the bond of Carmelo Anthony and the killing of Austin Metcalf in a community just north of Houston. And it's been a major controversy. People have taken sides, black versus white. Just strange and very sad that it has come down to this. But there was a reduction in his bond, Carmelo Anthony, the 17-year-old black kid accused of killing the 17-year-old white kid. Tell us what the bond has gone from and to and your thoughts about it.
Yeah, the bond was reduced from $1 million to $250,000. And given the circumstances of that case, it's definitely an appropriate reduction for an individual as young as Mr. Anthony is, 17. My understanding is no substantial or, if any, prior criminal history. He certainly has significant ties to the community. That being said, he doesn't show himself to be a flight risk. He should be able to make his court appearances. On top of that, they have to demonstrate, given the lack of history, that he's not going to be a continuing harm to the community. Those are all of the factors that the court is to consider. What it shouldn't consider or presume is his guilt. And so when you look at a bond amount as high as $1 million, it almost presumes him to be guilty. And certainly we've heard through various outlets that there is a self-defense claim that's being raised, and he's entitled to raise that defense. And so while he's raising that defense, the court needs to give him an opportunity to be able to bond out, which will make it a lot more better for him in terms of preparing for his upcoming trial.
Now, we know there has been a racial divide in this case, with the suspect being black, the victim being white. Was there a rush to judgment when this bond was initially set at $1 million? Well, did the public play a role in the judge deciding that, or the magistrate deciding that?
Well, I certainly never want to get into the mind of a judge. Different judges have different criteria in terms of how they would like to establish a bond amount. It is a murder case. And we do typically see for murder cases, bonds tend to be substantially higher compared to other alleged crimes. And it's also one that garnered a lot of public media attention. And certainly judges who, in Texas anyways, have to be elected, sometimes that is in the back of their mind, the media attention. They want to make sure that they're not looking, especially in a conservative state such as Texas, that they're not looking, quote unquote, soft on crime. So sometimes that does influence a judge's decision to increase a bond amount, although it shouldn't. But if we were to be frank, that human element, that political element does certainly play a factor in these decisions.
Will this be a tough trial on both the criminal defense side and the prosecution side because the community is so torn about it, the country is torn about it, and because there's that racial element? Is that a tough case to handle?
Yeah, I believe so. I've tried cases where there have been, for once, two different cases I can think of where someone shot an unarmed individual and we claimed self-defense and we did it successfully. There's certainly room for a self-defense claim to be made, even when the individual, the aggressor, is unarmed. That being said, as you mentioned, there are some racial tension that comes from this case. And as a defense attorney, you want to be mindful of that. You want to be mindful of what type of juror would be unfair. And so I think on both sides, there's going to be a lot of what's called strike for that juror can stand tall in that deliberation room and stick to a not guilty vote.
Got it. And of course, the 17-year-old has been given the opportunity to be placed on house arrest instead of being locked up as well. Attorney Bayoji Kingwala, criminal defense attorney in Houston, we appreciate your time here on The Factor Uncensored.
You looking to start your own business? Well, look no further.
I didn't get to listen to his whole video either. But like the first initial part was like hilarious. I mean, pretty spot on. And then the second part that I'm gonna play real quick is pretty much but this is the judge that reduced the bond.
Now when we can have, summer interns come up and they are every race, creed, color, gender, but they can see someone that looks like them on the bench. I think that is so beneficial because it's representation. And when they look at me, young kids, law students, whoever it is, I want them to say, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Now, if a white kid went up on the black tent and they told him to leave and the white boy stabbed and killed a black kid, God is my witness, nobody would be supporting that white kid. But only colored people of the melanin will support a person who committed a crime and killed another person.
I mean, it's kind of funny. Now, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I'm just like, that's the racist.
Prices have been high for the last few years, and they're still high dollars. Let me say this amount 010 or visit americanfinancing.net/Tatum. All right, let's get to Karmelo Anthony. I've been waiting to talk about this all day. So the Karmelo Anthony situation comes up. They reduced his bond amount from $1 million to $250,000. Let me say this, some of y'all gonna be mad at me, but I just gotta be honest. I'm just giving you my honest take. I thought $1 million was pretty high to start with. Now, as a family of your child that's been murdered, $1 million ain't enough. But when it comes to the way they prosecute certain crimes, $1 million was pretty high for a person that doesn't seem to have the propensity for violence outside of a one-to-one engagement. Which means if this person was doing a drive-by shooting, a gang initiation thing, or he was doing something where he was attacking innocent people, he could be a danger to the public outside of this incident. So you will have his bond amount be an extremely high bond amount. But I think what happened is they defaulted to a bond amount without evaluating the circumstances, situations. When they evaluated, the reduction of the bond amount seems to be reasonable. But to $250,000, I don't know if that's reasonable. But the reduction from $1 million.
Yes, I agree with him. Million, maybe. Yeah, you still have to pay the 100,000. Okay, got it. But to release it to 250 where you only got paid 20, I would probably done it like the 500,000. I would have stayed in between and I would probably stayed at the 500. That 250 is not enough for this type of action, and 1 million, like he said, there was no really major priors. There was that other altercation in the school and stuff like that. And like I said, we'll probably hear more about that when the trial starts and things like that. But I would have probably just stuck it out with the 500,000, not the million, not the 250. I would have done the 500,000, or go take the 1 million and the 250, add it up, divide it in two, and figure out the median. Where's the middle to that? Find out the average or whatever. I don't know. Figure out the median to that, but 1 million to 250 was just no bueno.
Million seems to be inevitable and reasonable based on the crime that was committed. If it was more heinous, which means that he shot somebody to death and stood over him, had no remorse, he tried to hide, he was fleeing the scene, they had to go on a manhunt for him, he didn't admit to it, he's now saying, all of that will cause your bond amount to be crazy high because you show no remorse and you could be a danger to be let out in the public. But since this is a mutual combative situation, not mutual in the use of force, but mutually combative situation, which is a one-off, there's no anticipation that he's going to flee. Like all of those things that are contributing factors. But let me just tell you this. The only reason why, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about this, and I believe because it's racism on display from the black community. I'm just saying, is there white people that are racially, biasly supporting Metcalf? Yes. But the majority of the conflict and the racial dynamic is on the side of the melanated people. Why do you say that? Because this was not a mutually combative situation. This was a kid bringing a knife to an event and stabbing another kid in the heart in a disproportionate use of force.
Preach it, my mom, preach it. This, it wasn't equal. It was never an equal altercation here. And see, he has the report. Carmelo Anthony Centennial. Anthony really had any. Okay, it says Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under the team's tent, and Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." No one really thought Anthony really had any weapons in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A shorter time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out what recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. Austin began grabbing his chest and telling everyone to get help. Blank redacted. Advised he did not know Anthony's name, but stated another Memorial Track member, blank blank, was friends with Anthony and he could identify Anthony. Oh, now this is starting to make clearer. Blank described Anthony as a black male, skinny, with possibly a goatee, short, puffy hair, and wearing Centennial High School clothing. This concluded my contact with so and so. I then was instructed to start crime scene log. I retrieved a crime scene log from the patrol. So, again, touch me and see what happens. Austin was never an aggressor. He clearly told him to move. Move, beep. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get under your own tent, beep. Kind of thing. I don't know. I'm just, adding stuff to it. No one really thought Anthony really had weapons in his bag. That's because the other altercation at his school was handled discreetly. So who else would know about this stuff? And seeing that's why I think a lot of people were saying that Anthony and Austin kind of knew each other, but they didn't know each other. It was another track member of Austin that knew Anthony from that school. Like I said, when you're in high school, you obviously go to elementary school together. 2 or 3 elementary schools feed into a middle school. 2 or 3 middle schools feed into a high school. So just because, you know, this student at this high school may have gone to middle school with this student, but now he's at a high school over here. You know what I mean? Because these schools didn't go to that one. This one school probably went to this one, and Anthony went over here. So he now knows the members over here at this team. So you see how it goes. People move, move from districts. People move. Anything could have been possible. But another student knew Carmelo Anthony from Austin's track team. Hmm. So another member from Memorial Track. So one of Austin's teammates was friends with Anthony. So could that be why he was over there? Because they were friends? They were just chit chatting up? Like what? Like how come the friend didn't tell him to go over there? But anyway, let's continue.
Throw the knife and run. He admitted that he did it. There was no instance whatsoever of a self-defense claim. You can make the claim, but I don't know if a grand jury or if a jury will give instructions that are favorable to a self-defense claim. I don't think the self-defense claim is relevant whatsoever. And a lot of black people know it's not. However, these white folks ain't finna do something against a black kid. Even a black kid wrong. They gonna raise money. They gonna show the white people that they gonna support this black kid no matter what. That's what it is. Black kids kill black kids every single.
Wow. So I was kind of right. Remember I said earlier I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony raised more than Austin's family did? This right here. Oh, my bad. Sorry. This right here. I'm going to show you. Show stream. This right here is what I was saying. Right here, raised. The goal is 500,000 for whatever reason. They're thinking that the lawyer is going to need that much money, I guess. I need to go watch The Time to Kill because I don't think it was 500,000, right? I think they raised like 3,000, 5,000. It could have been that much. I think it was like 50,000 or something, or 100,000. But anyway, and Austin raised 358, and their goal was only 370,000. And you gotta admit, you got funeral costs and all that other stuff. I mean, come on now. How does this
day, stabbing them, shooting them, choking them, pushing them off stuff. They doing it every day of the week, and not one GoFundMe is afoot.
That is so true. Remember, like I said, black on black crime. We're not funding them. We're only doing it so that way we can show these, not show these people. I shouldn't even say that. Like now, that's considered. I'm trying to be as technical. I'm not trying to say why. I'm not trying. Where we could show the other race that we can raise money, or we're supportive of the. I like how you said the melanin, the melanin. I can't even say that. The melanin. I think that's melatonin. Okay, let's continue.
Talking about it, there's no t-shirts, nobody's talking about it in the media. It's when a black kid kills a white kid and he deserves to go to prison, but black people don't want that because he killed a white kid, which shows you, in my opinion, that deep down inside, a lot of your black friends hate you, and it's only gonna come up to the surface when one of these instances happen. If it's a black and a white thing, you're gonna know if your black friends really like you or not. And I think it could be vice versa too, but I think it's more on the black side than the white side, from my personal experience. All right, let's roll this clip.
Within the past hour, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony has been released from the Collin County Jail after posting bond. A judge reduced his bond this morning from $1 million to $250,000.
They're reducing his bond. He got out. He's on house arrest. This is a crazy, crazy case. And again, I feel like he needs to do some time. He needs to be locked away. I'm not saying that he needs to be life in prison or anything, but at least he's what, 17, at least a good 25 years. He come out when he's 40. He'll be more of an adult, more mentally capable of making better decisions, and live out the rest of the half of his life that he has left. Um, I think that's what it is. I don't think he should have gotten, if he got in bond, it needed to be at least 500,000. House arrest, I guess, but I think I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know about that one, if he should be bonded out or not, but I really I don't think anybody who's in there for any kind of murder, attempted murder, first degree, second degree, third degree, I don't care if it's no degree, you took a life, you took a life. You should stay in there until your trial is, and then you get your time, and that time could be added, taken off from whatever they give you, time served or whatever. But I don't think he should be out. I think you can I think any alleged murderers can properly um prepare for their case while they're waiting for their trial in custody. Like you said, I don't know. They keep saying he doesn't have no priors, but I think that incident with the school, in order for them to handle it discreetly, was more than just the slap on the wrist, or was more than just you know, I'll beat you up, or I'll come after you, or touch me and see what happens kind of thing. I think it was more than that. So, again, we'll probably have to wait to trial to see when the prosecutors bring that information up, or maybe give it a couple more days. I don't know if it's going to get leaked out to the internet or what's going to happen with this case. But again, there's a lot of oh, I forgot to do Nancy Grace, huh? Because she even said it. Let's start off with Nancy Grace real quick. Let's do Nancy
This was my
Grace
hair
real
6
quick.
hours after wash day. Now, this is my hair on day 3. I've tried every oily hair product.
Pleads with a text.
Breaking news tonight, the Texas track star stabber walks free. Walks free after a brutal stabbing of a football star. This as the victim's family is attacked. The victim's mother's home swatted. This, as we learn, the killer's family is set to buy a new house with donations. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Accused teen killer Anthony Karmelo pleads with a Texas judge for a lower bond on the basis of his age and lack of criminal record, despite allegedly stabbing to death a fellow student at a track meet. The judge meets his demands.
What? Okay, if we have the facts correct, the suspect stabbed an unarmed teen boy. But yet I'm hearing that the suspect has walked free. I am also learning that it was urged in court that the suspect has no criminal history. He's a juvenile. Listen to this.
Anthony's father was questioned about an incident involving his son that happened at Karmelo's high school in February. The Daily Mail refers to the incident as an altercation assault. But as the situation was handled internally by the Frisco Independent School District, it is unclear if Anthony was the aggressor or merely a witness to the incident, or even what type of incident occurred.
And his brother was holding him, trying to hold the blood in, and he passed. My son watched his brother die in his arms.
That from our friends at Fox 4 Dallas Fort Worth News. Okay, let me understand this. Straight out to trial lawyer Lisa Herrick.
Okay. I like how she says that. Walking free amongst the she's so dramatic. But yes, she nailed it. She nailed it. She nailed it. He is walking free right now. He's not like totally free. Yes, he's under house arrest, but he is living he is breathing some really, really fresh air right now. He's getting AC. He's living a lot better than those people who are waiting trial in the jail. Like, what? All right, guys. I don't mean to be laughing at this situation, but I'm just all over the place. I really don't know what to think about it anymore. Just the fact that I can't wait for this trial to begin and to see what's happening because, again, both of these families are being threatened. I don't threaten these families. Don't go out. Don't pursue. Just do your research, guys, and just be careful out there. No need to mess with their families. Really, you can you can go to the school. You can go do some background checks with them. You can go do all that stuff. Just don't threaten any of the families. Let them be. One is still trying to cope with losing their child, and another one is trying to cope how to save their child. So it's a really tough position to be in either case, whether you're from the victim's family or the suspect's family. But either way, um, justice still needs to be served, and whether it's doing the right, hopefully, like we noticed before, the judges are, the lawyers already doing a good job about not answering certain questions, like why did the child have a knife on the school property and things like that. So we definitely want to continue to look into this story and look into this matter because again, they're trying to say that he has no priors. Yes, but there was another incident at Karmelo Anthony's school back in February with him. Again, not much more information. We need to look that up. Please, please, please do your research. Again, if you like this information, please like, subscribe, and share. Share it to your friends. Everything like that. So so we can spread the word. Please, please, please be careful who you donate to. You don't want to donate. I'm not gonna say who you should and shouldn't donate to. I know I don't want to donate to somebody who possibly committed a murder or 99.9% sure that they committed a crime. So definitely be careful with your money. If you want, we have Vivid Lifestyles. Um, Definitely. Oh, that's what I was doing. I was getting ready to pull up the Vivid Lifestyles. Donate to Vivid Lifestyles. You can do it by Cash App. Go to my link space. The link space is in the description. The link is down in the description. Click on that. You can click on the donate button, and you can go ahead and do it through there. It's all linked to my PayPal, Cash App, Vivid Lifestyles. This is all going to get donated to Vivid Lifestyles. It's a nonprofit organization. We heal the wound of abuse. Let's heal the wound of abuse. let's keep these kids safe out there, and all our adults and veterans and things like that. So everybody stay safe. Have a good Friday, and enjoy. If I'm not back, please have a good Easter. Be safe out there, and until next time, pinkies up.